Hey there, fellow Helldivers. We're back today. The new patch did drop, and I did want to go over a couple of things with it. Or, well, not a couple of things. I did want to go through the patch with everybody. So everything is right here. It's just kind of explaining the patch notes that we're going to be going over down here. So I don't feel like reading through all that. I'm instead just going to tell you. Now, Helldivers 2 update, we got 2 new planetary hazards, blizzards, and sandstorms. I'm really loving the world effects or planet effects that they're adding into the game. It's really making it a lot more, like, immersive and a lot more interesting and just a lot more things you have to deal with. So I really do like it. Now, the missions balancing, I think this one is good. So, the retrieve essential personnel. So, they move the spawn points for the enemies farther back, and they reduce the number of civilians you need to complete the mission on higher difficulties. So, this mission is going to be a lot easier to accomplish as opposed to before, where a lot of the times you could get locked into where the bugs are just instantly killing the scientists or the civilians as they come out of their spawn points, and you're pretty much fucked. So, I really think this is a positive note. Honestly, though, the enemy spawn points wasn't really the main point. My thing was the civilians, but the fact that they did do it, not a negative, so I'm happy with that. The destroy command bunkers, so it has more objective locations because the mission was too easy before compared to the other ones. It appears in operations from difficulty 5 and above, I'm assuming, and it have the negative effect of operation modifiers that increase stratagem cooldowns or call-in times. This one was always the most annoying for the automatons, because when you can't, the 50% or even the 100%, like, that's still 5, 6, 7 minutes between stratagems, and that's just the base ones. Imagine if you use the laser that has a 6-minute. You're looking at 10 minutes, and you can only use it 3 times anyway, so like you're never going to be able to use it in the right situations. You're literally just going to be running around holding it. So I really do like this one with their stratagems. Now, we did get a lot of changes for the primary, secondary, and support weapons. So the arc thrower, it fixed the charging inconsistencies. I even noticed this as myself because I use the weapon a lot. There'd be times where it just wouldn't charge properly. Now, it always takes 1 second to charge. The distance, this one I do not like, because you used to be able to, fucking snipe some shit with the lightning as long as there were no teammates in front of you. So reducing the effective distance, I think, is not good because the weapon made up for the fact that you had to charge it. This one, though, I think this somewhat makes up for the distance, is the stagger force. So you're going to be able to stun lock or knock enemies back a lot more quickly. The only thing this is going to affect really are Bio-Titans and Chargers, because everything else pretty much dies instantly to this. Well, the Brood Commanders take 2 charges, but you're doing that instantly anyway, so it's not that hard to do. The Guard Dog, this one's really good. It restores full ammo from supply boxes. I think they had to add that in because the thing always ran out of ammo and became useless halfway through the game. And the backpacks, or that one anyway, has a 5 to 6, 7 minute cooldown. So there was always 2 to 3 minutes where you didn't have it. So I'm really happy that they did this. The anti-material rifle damage increased by 30%. They're just making them more viable. Because right now there is no point at all at sniping, as you need to be moving. Because if you stand still, the enemies gang up on you, and it's just a shit show from there. They decided to move like the game more in a fire direction. So breaker incendiary damage per bullet increased from 15 to 20. Fire damage per tick increased by 50% from all sources. So fire is a lot more effective against everything. So that that one's a little bit of a question mark, because the thing is that the fire destroys the bugs, but does nothing against the automatons, which is kind of the point. Fire does nothing against metal necessarily. So I don't really get this one. The Liberator Penetrator has a full auto mode. That's good. The Dominator increased damage from 200 to 300. Dominator increased stagger. It needed to be buffed a little bit, so I'm really happy that they're doing that. Counter Sniper increased armor penetration from light to medium. Again, they're making the snipers viable. This doesn't make them meta. I'm hesitant to say that because people have such a bad reaction with the meta, but I mean the meta is just what does everything else, sorry, I'm having a fucking brain shitstorm right here. So what the meta does is it does what everything else does, except it does it quicker and better and easier. A lot more effective. So that's why I just that's why I'm just so kind of questioning mark everybody's meta. Like the meta is designed by the game and people just react to it. So that's just stupid. Anyway, back to this. The Slugger reduced stagger, reduced damage from 280 to 250, reduced demolition force, fixed armor penetration tag in the menu, Liberator concussive senator, fixed incorrect armor penetrations in the menu. So they pretty much they felt like the Slugger was overproducing, kind of like the Breaker was, so they wanted to bring it down. In my opinion, like always, I don't really feel like you should nerf the overpowered weapons. You should buff the underperforming weapons to make them more viable. Somebody, again, put it the best way that I read. Back in the beginning, right? The recoilless rifle was a 12 out of 10. Everything else was like a 2 out of 10. And then the Breaker shotgun was like a 9 out of 10. So then with the nerfs, you made the Breaker an 8 out of 10. You made the railgun an 8 out of 10, and then you made all the other weapons a 4 out of 10. So while the other two are still viable and still do what they need to do, you still didn't address the problem as the other weapons still don't do what they're supposed to be doing, or effectively anyway, especially on the higher tiers. So this is the one that I'm very questioning on, but we'll see how it plays out, see what happens. Now the recoilless rifle and the spear, they got more missiles restored from supply boxes, which goes a long way with the amount of heavily armored enemies in the game, so I do really like that. Now, the heavy machine gun, the highest fire rate mode, reduced from 1200 RPM to a more moderate 950. Again, I didn't use the weapon with the one that reduced recoil, so I'm assuming that this does play a part in it, as the recoil was making the weapon probably pretty ungodly to use or making a pain in the ass. So this just makes it more viable, and probably more people are going to pick it because you don't have to lose other things to be able to just shoot this weapon if you like to run other sets of armor that do different things. This one is extremely important. So rockets will now penetrate armor only on direct hit. This is very important against the automatons with the current Patriot, until they release the one that's meant to fight against the automatons that has a little bit more armor, but I think has less like fire or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I know it has positive and negatives that the other one doesn't have. On top of that, enemies were balanced. Chargers normal attack does less damage to exosuits. Biospewer and nursing spear do less damage with the puke. This one is a little bit iffy to me, because there'd be times where one acid would touch my toe and I would die. And then there'd be times where the acid, I would literally get fucking puked on and would like have full health. I think the puke damage needs to be coded or recoded properly as in order to actually work the right way, because that's what I think the issue is. Biotitan can no longer be stunned. That one I don't know about, because I feel like the whole point of the stun grenade was to stun the Biotitan. That was the whole point of it being introduced. So the fact that they removed that, I don't know. Shriekers can no longer create bug breaches, and hitting you while dead does significantly less damage. I don't care about the bug breaches. You should be able to kill the enemies quick enough. If not, you just run away. The dead part is the one that really pisses me off. I'm so tired of losing a half health because an enemy I killed and just eats the full clip of ammo. While it's dead, mind you, the enemy's dead. I got the registered dead hit marker bullshit, and it hits me. Like, that shit is so fucking annoying. So that is going to go a long way to making the game a lot more fun and balanced, I would say. Now, the Helldiver, like, suits, the heavy and medium armor have also been increased. They protect a lot better. So heavy armor, you take about 10% less damage, and medium armor is 5% less damage. Fortified commando and light armor remains unchanged. Those are performing beyond adequately, because again, you stand still, you're dead. This does something to address the problem, but it doesn't address the problem that there's still no point in taking heavy armor. Or like medium armor, you could make an argument for, but the little bit of armor you get doesn't make up for the stamina usage or the stamina boost and recovery rate that you can get from running away. So like any argument again is still going to be offset by just the medium or the light armor's stamina thing. What I've read and what I'll continue to read is that the heavy armor should have a damage reduction of like 25 to 30%. And then on top of that, it should have a stagger lock so you don't get staggered. You get like knocked back and then you're just up and stuff. So you're not ragdolled everywhere. I think that would go a long way to making them more viable. Now, the fixes, these are all just glitches and other things that they decided to do. Nothing. If you want to read it, I mean, you could read it right here, or you could go look at the patch notes yourself just to kind of address everything. They did change the ballistic shield as well. So the collision mess has been slightly increased in size for more forgiveness. So you have more protection, because I read somewhere that your hitbox or your headshot hitbox takes up 50% of your character model. So that definitely goes a long way to help with that. Change shield poses, so less of the Helldiver exposed. Again, goes along with that hitbox. Address bug where parts of the Helldiver would become vulnerable while using the shield in first person. Again, it has everything to do with the hitboxes, so they probably just changed how everything interacts with each other when you're using the shield, which makes it viable. And then again, just other issues, bug fixes, stupid shit like that. Again, if you want to check that out, you always can. Now again, you guys, everything's just my personal opinion, but I do think my opinion is mostly correct, or at least in the right area, the right sector. If you guys do, well, tell me your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Right, wrong, or just your ideas and your takes on everything. As always, guys, I want to thank you so much for everything. If you did like it, drop that like. If you did feel I earned it, go ahead and give me that sub, give me that follow, and tune in for the next time.